And my question for all of you is, where do you fit in here? Because you can't, and let's just assume now that the whole place was African American for just a second, just for assumption purposes, okay? You're going to find some of you on this board.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right.
I don't care who you are, you're on that board. And it's one thing to say that you know about diversity and I ain't got no biases and stereotypes, and to not really be willing to dig deep into yourself to consider for just a second the worldview that you have. When you live your life, how much of this kind of stuff is tainting your view? Do you know?
Bring it.
Are you willing to find out? So when it comes to being present and accountable, I think I'd say that the very first thing that you need to do is be willing to be you. Now you've heard that before. You've heard that before. But now that we've given you permission to kind of dig a little bit deeper into that whole thing, think about it. How does this affect you? And I think one of the reasons many people struggle with just simply being them is because of something called blind spots. Okay? Now let me tell you what a blind spot is. A blind spot is a behavior that is known to others, but not known to self. Okay? So when we started talking about stereotypes and all that stuff, we saw people who thought that. But we look right past that. Now, I got this thing that I call the circle of view, and it's kind of picture in your head a three-ringed bullseye. Look at a three-ringed bullseye. So you got the little bullseye, and then two outer rings. On the very inside ring, there's God. That's where everything starts. Okay? And God's blessed us with certain genetics, male, female, tall, small, that kind of thing. The second ring is personality. And personality is our core values, our culture, the things that we hold on to, things that we think are important, the views that we choose to identify with. Now behavior is the third ring. So we've got God, personality, and behavior. Blind spots come in. Now behavior, by the way, is just defined as an internally or externally motivated action for our purposes. So behavior is an internally or externally motivated action. Now get this, an internally motivated action is an action that is motivated by our personalities, our true core, ourselves, those things that we hold on to that we're willing to stand up for and fight for and say, this is what I believe. That's an internal motivation based on our personality. External motivation is based on what people say. And that's where the blind spots come. You know what I'm saying? We're up there, and that gets us going. We're talking about keeping it real because if nothing else, we completely agree that keeping it real is one of the keys to our success. But how many of us know how to keep it real? What will you go through to identify some of your blind spots that are keeping you from keeping it real? Don't you know that other people see these things in you?
That's it.
And that they're keeping you from realizing your fullest potential.
Repeat that.
I'm gonna say it one more time, y'all. It just popped into my head. Thank you, God. We don't see these things within ourselves, but other people. What else does it take to be present and accounted for? I think it takes being willing to seize the moment. How many times have you seen paralysis by analysis? These committees and these meetings, and we get wrapped up and it's just stuck. You know, and I'm going to let a little bit of our dirt leak out here, y'all. No, I'm not. Never mind. Yeah, never mind. No, I'm going to keep that to myself. Okay? But seizing the moment. How many of you are willing to step up and do that? How many times have you left the Living Hope for Hurting Men meeting with a question on your mind? What else does it take to be present and accounted for? It takes being able to break out of the matrix. What's the matrix, y'all? Let's assume for just a second that you knew exactly who you were, how you were being in most situations. And that's the best we can ask for. You're never going to be perfect. Okay? But let's just assume you got that whole beauty thing down. And you step up and you're willing to seize the moment. Then there's the whole matrix thing. What's the matrix? And this is one of the biggest killers. The matrix is the mundane. The matrix is the boring, the typical, the daily routine and rigmarole. Let me give you an example, brothers. What you do last week? Did you wake up, eat, shower, shave, go to work? go eat lunch, go back to work, come home, kiss the dog, pet the missus. Somebody got kissed, somebody got parent. Or both. Maybe you kissed both. Okay? And then what you do? You went to sleep? Repeat, 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 repeat. How many of you out there have seen somebody have a week like that? How many of you have had a week like that, y'all? Okay? The question then becomes, did you have a month like that? Did you have a year like that? Because guess what? Someday you're going to be 31 years old. Someday you're going to be 50. Someday you're going to be 70. And you're going to get there, and you're going to turn around, and if you're living a life in the matrix, you're going to wonder, what happened to my life? Why didn't I just stand up and go? In the day when I was all about fighting and reputation and all that other bravado, don't you know many people said, keep it real, dog, you with us or without us? Sure. And they were asking me that question to go and create sin. Things that weren't healthy for me, but they'll look at me and say, you keeping it real or not? And they tricked me. And I said, yeah, I'm real, man. I'm with you. Don't leave it out, you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. That's not the kind of keep it real we're talking about, because keep it real means different things to different people. What's it mean to you? What's it take to be present and accounted for? I think it takes being willing to have a positive attitude. You've heard that. And I can almost feel people just rolling their eyes again and saying, tell us something we don't know, dude. But I'm going to come right back at you and dig a little bit deeper. Let me give you two true stories. I'm almost 32 years old. I'm brand new to the area. I'm starting over again. Not making the money I was making. Stepped out for God. Don't know what to do with this business paperwork. I'm just confused and sometimes just plain old overwhelmed. Another true story. I'm only 31 years old. I live in San Diego, and I'm a small business owner. You see what I'm saying? Both stories are true. I just turned it around. Now my question for you is, which world do you live in? That's good.
Wow.
Let's come back over here. Which world do you live in, y'all? You know what? Even more important, which world do you pull people out of? But let me do this. The topic was be present and accounted for. How can I share with you the importance of being present and accounted for in addition to what I've already said? Why don't I let the words of Langston Hughes with his poem Harlem take us home. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? Be present and accounted for, brothers, and do it today.